Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The former Bishop of Derry, Dr. Edward Daly, who featured in perhaps the most iconic photograph of Bloody Sunday, has died at the age of 82. He was one of the most influential church figures in Northern Ireland throughout the Troubles and a lifelong critic of all violence. Dr. Daly joined the civil rights marchers in January 1972 as they passed the cathedral where he served. When British soldiers opened fire, 13 people were killed that day. The priest was near 17-year-old Jackie Duddy, who was one of those shot. He gave him the last rites, then tried to get him to safety, leading the way with his bloodied handkerchief. Of the image's fame and the influence of Bloody Sunday, he said later when Bishop of Derry, "I felt a responsibility to tell the story of what I saw. And what I saw was a young fella who was posing no threat to anybody, being shot dead, unjustifiably."
I think after the grief there was enormous anger. I think it set the Provisional IRA really up in business. They must have had an enormous number of recruits after that. I'm sure they had.
He believed the violence of the Troubles was futile and morally unjustified on both sides, and often spoke out against it.
Well, unfortunately, I've seen this sort of thing before, and it was the same as it has always been, one of horror and anger that people could do a thing like this. It's an awful, awful deed. Actually, that's the second series of deaths that's taken place just on that same spot. And last Easter Sunday, 2 young boys were run down by an Army Land Rover there.
Throughout his life, he took a personal interest in those who suffered miscarriages of justice. The Birmingham Six among them, convinced of their innocence when they lost their appeal.
Well, I know them. I've known them for longer than the Court of Appeal. I know 3 of them. I've been visiting them over a long period of time, corresponding with them, and I'm quite satisfied that they are innocent men.
He also drew inspiration from world events. After the Berlin Wall fell, he saw an opportunity to again push back against violence in Northern Ireland.
The way of the gun is outdated, it's archaic, it doesn't work, it's immoral. And I think if we look at what's happening in Eastern Europe today through non-violent protest, that is the way forward.
He remained Bishop of Derry until 1993. In 2010, when the Savile report finally exonerated the Bloody Sunday victims, his handkerchief was again on hand, long since cleared of its bloodstains and now cherished by the sister of Jackie Duddy.